What's up guys, it's BME Models here, and today we'll be creating in Blender. So make sure to like and subscribe, make sure you have Blender installed. If you haven't, make sure to go on my channel and I've got a video on how to install Blender. So today will be a quick run through on different property files and different tabs in the property section. So this is the property section over here. As you can see, there are a few files here and we'll just be going through them in this video to make sure that we understand them. So the first one is render properties. If we click that, we have to render here and we can change this. This is the render engine we will use, and so we can have Eevee, which is what we usually use in Blender. If you use Eevee, it will probably look something like this. However, if you use something like cycles, if you move around here, you can see, or if we 3D render it, we can see that it doesn't really move or doesn't really change from Eevee. However, when we move into the viewport shading, if you want to click on that and your screen's half on the computer because you're watching this video, then just click Z on the Blender tab and you can change it to rendered solid material preview or wireframe. It also have numbers next to it, so if you want to, you can just click the numbers instead. Now you see, if we move up, we can see these small dots and these areas where Blender is making sure everything is completely correct. So if we just delete this and add a sphere, and if we render that, then we can see that it is taking a while and that this render is more in detail, as you can see here. But if we wait for this to finish and we'll do another slot in Eevee, we can switch between the difference. So this is just a quick view over how Blender can change in these two different things. If we go on to slot 2, minus, and then we go back into Eevee, then if we render while in Eevee, in slot 2, we can have a clear picture, comes straight away. It's not as in detailed as slot 1. Oh, there, they've been joined into the same slot. However, you get the gist. The cycles is more in depth than the other. You can also see here our sampling is 17. So what we're seeing, 16. What we're seeing here is just a clear, quick view of what we will see when we render. However, in rendering, there is 64, which is quite a large number, which means that it will be in a lot of detail. These are easy things that you can change or mess around with in Blender. If we click on here and change the button, we can change the distance, and this is sort of the shadows and areas here. As you can see, they're sort of moving around here. If we do boom, then any lights will shine out, they'll be very bright. Another one, we'll go on to the next tab, is the output properties. This is just a quick overview and there'll be a lot more in-depth tabs of this in my videos, so make sure to like and subscribe to my channel to make sure that you don't miss out on them and that you do go in depth with these tabs. So this is the output properties. This is where you can save your animation if you've created one, or your renders in a format. You just click here, add to whatever you want, and then you can when you render, it will be put out. If we open this up, then we can see the camera is right here, but it has an amazing view of this epic blue and green, blue and red idea of this circle. As you can see here, if we go into multi-view, we can untick a few of these And it won't do much, it won't do loads, but this is just the different views of what you might have. If, as you can see here, if we scroll out, this becomes red and different colors. If we move here, I really like that idea, so if we just render that, let's see what it comes up with. So it's come up like this, and I really like the look of it. It's red on the outside, but this is very different to what other blenders you'd see. So if you want to make your work unique or different from someone else's, then make sure to put this on, because it looks amazing and has different ideas and colors to your blenders. The next is view layer properties, and these are different properties that you can add onto your blenders, such as light effects and passes layer view, and these are very similar to the ones you'll see previously in this rendered tab, or if we go into the active toolbar, then we can see it's the exact same as this area. If we go into this toolbar too. And if you can see here, to get this area up and these items in this view, just click N and then N to open it up. As well, you can see that if we go into this, we can move the location of this sphere. If we go N, we can still go into here and we'll see the illusion we've created. Next is the scene properties, and we can change the camera and the background. We don't have any different images or meshes here that we can add in, but if we just create a plane, rotate Z 90 X 90 degrees, then we rotate on the Y 90 degrees, then we will be able to create a background for this. Scale it up. I'm just going to do this quickly and speed up this, or so you can come back in a second to make sure that it is done. So I've finished with my background, and as you can see, there is a blue line around here, and if we just move this around a bit, we can see that they can intersect and join. I really like the look of that, so I'm just going to scale down this background a bit so that we can see that there's a background, but actually it looks like two separate objects. So next we can create is a background. We can move on to here, but there isn't any scene or set scene that we can add on to. There's no active clip because we can create that in this. We can create it in video editor. So we don't have video editor here, but if we scroll across here, add new, we can see video editing is correctly there. The units we can change so that if you want centimeters or imperial instead, you can add rotation, length, mass times. Then you can change all of this. There is gravity, so that if something is pulled down or if you drop something in the animation, it will get pulled down too. There is all these audio keying sets. Rig body wheels, you can add these rigs to different objects, but we won't really use that with this sphere. If we go into these other tabs up here, there is also a video on this, so make sure to subscribe to my channel and watch that too. If we go up here, we can see the texture over here, but that is not what we want. We want to be able to see different areas. Oh, if we can see here, there's missing materials and textures detected. So if we go out back into the layer, and then we go on to the material properties, we can add a material. Let's go for a grey. If we move into there, we can see that we still have the grey, and if we change that color, we can see the different colors change around it. If we just move around here, they change. I'm just going to keep it with a white. If we move around into here, UV editing, texture paint, it still says missing textures detected. Well, if we go in here, we can make sure this is added in, and then it won't be missing, and then we can resurface it and it will be there. If we go into shading, animation or rendering, This is a cool place to make sure to use. Of course, we're not animating, so we could take this down if we wanted to, or add another. There are possible ideas for this if we wanted to change this into a 3D viewport and add that instead. And so we can have the top view, and then this can just be the move around one. Then we can add another. Now, adding these places and areas that we see things is very crucial in Blender so that we can see objects from different angles without moving them every single time. So we just scale out these. We can move this across if we wanted to have these here and this object here. Now we can see it rendered right there, and that's good because we want to see the colors and objects we can or have created. Next here we have world properties. That took a while to come up. We can change the background of our world. That's pretty cool. If you're going for a dark, dready night, then we could add that in. If we wanted to come up here, we could add this and say it starts like this, and we can click I to insert that here and add keyframe. We could change the color to a dark green. Then about here, let's say it changes to a bright yellow. If we change that to a bright yellow, then here, let's say it goes to a dark red. Then, if we play this from the beginning, we can see it's changing color, and as it does it, it slowly changes from one color to another, and that is what we want. And see, it'll go darker, start changing color, yes, and then it goes into the red. And then we can change this if we wanted to, so that in here there's another color, then here there's another color. The possibilities are endless with Blender because you can change it to any color you want. So if you had a game where they run round, then maybe they're running round, and then as they run round, it changes color for each night, or each morning it will change, a bit like other gaming programs. It will change in the morning, change in the night, and maybe that's what you want to do if you add this into a gaming engine. The next one we have is object properties, and this is very similar to what we saw before. Yes, transform. If we come here, we can see the location, the scale, and that's all here. Relations is when you have a parent. So like in a previous video I created, we had the light parented to the camera. If we kill P, we can set parent to. If we go object, if we move this camera, it will move around, but if we move this light, it won't move the camera around. And that might be what you want to do, that may not be what you want to do, but parenting is very easy because if you want a different object to be the center, then you can move it across and again and again. As you can see here, we have this sort of frame in front of the camera. This is our illusion area that changes the colors of our sphere here. And if we see here, there are collections, and this is just up here like collection, add, but then we can add one, there's another collection, and that's pretty self-explanatory. If we go on to this area, which is the physical properties, we can add force fields and rigged body consent to different objects. For this one, there's a lot more. There's cloth, dynamic paints off body fluid, rigid body, and there will be a video coming out about me going into some of these physical properties. So make sure to subscribe so you do get notified of this new video, otherwise you may miss out. The next one is object constraint properties. If we come here, we can add an object constraint property, which is clamping, anything like that. We usually do this with an armature. I usually do this with an armature as well. If you've seen my previous video, I have used armatures and metaballs to create sort of a walking man. If you have seen that one, then you will know you have to add constraints sometimes to your animations or to your objects and your armature, so that they don't collide with each other and it looks awkward and the hands are going into the heads. It's all absolute chaos. So you need to make sure you add constraints to an armature. The next one we have here is an object data properties. You can add vertex groups. These are very useful for vertex painting, and it's right here. There will probably be a video where I walk through vertex painting and the different objects and things you can create with it and how you do it. But for now, I'm just going to quickly walk through this. If we go into object mode, we can select all by clicking A. If we click away, A, there we go, all of them. If we go into this vertex group, we can assign it here. And then if we deselect this, we can select this group one. It's this. If we deselect and we decide that we don't want all of them in, we just want like a half-half sort of idea, then we could delete this group, add another. Let's go left half. Make sure to name everything when you create it, so that you don't get confused with what you have created and what you might create in the future. Half. If we go here, we'll just circle this. Then we may want to select all of this and assign here. But if we deselect it here, we may want all of them, and this is a good way to make sure that everything and all your vertexes and vertices that you create are not used in vain. So if you create this and you press A on these vertices, if you deselect them over here, you can make sure that everything else you haven't selected will be selected. And then if you go into this right half or left half, you can assign. Then if you select, all of them are selected and there are no vertices that you haven't selected. So if you come up here, go away from tab into object mode, let's click Z and go into rendering. If we go into this render view that we can see here, so our final one is material properties, and we've sort of gone through this already, but you can add metallic views onto an object. Of course I have none selected up, obviously, but if we click on the sphere we can make it more metallic. We can add it a bit more specular and then lower the roughness because metals aren't really rough. If we go here, we can see that there's a triangle, and if we move this round we can create or lose that. And it's sort of gone. Now we can make it really bright and it's there. Add some sort of this tint, remove the roughness. We can see that there's only one here, and that's pretty cool if we have the colours going in here. If we play it, we can see that these circles change colour around here dependent on their view or where they are looking and the areas around them and the colour that it holds. So the next one we have here is texture properties, and we can usually get it in texture paint. As we can see, it's still pink here, but that can easily be removed and replaced once it has been done. So let's just delete this material for this video. If we go over here, we can see it here, and we can start painting. If we come over here, there isn't a material that we can add, but if we go for a brick texture, as it's loading in a second, we can see this cool brick like image on this. If we go on to paint, we can start painting on this object. However, I'm not going to go straight into that. I am just going to go into this render view and I want to render animation. I'll show you guys when I am done, but I will show you the image as well. Make sure to hit that little subscribe button before you watch this to make sure you don't miss out anything in my videos or anything that you might get confused on or lost. As you can see here, it's taking a while to walk through this whole thing, and it will take a while to render the image afterwards, so I will show you it once it is done. And make sure to remember If you've rendered your animation or rendered your image and you don't know how to get it up, then just view render or view animation and you'll be able to see what you have created or what you have rendered. So this is a previous animation created. It was just a monkey, and that is a quick inside of the different tabs or different physical properties that I will be going into. That was the fluid simulation, and I will be going through them in my next video, so make sure to subscribe and hit that like button so that you won't miss out. So that's all for this video, and I hope you have enjoyed these Blender tips. Make sure to put down in the comments if you're having problems with anything and you need a video on it, because I can do that for you. And I will show you the physical properties in a second, and make sure to subscribe to make sure that you don't miss out on this physical properties video. And before you even watch this video, you should make sure you've installed Blender, so I will give you that link now.